This is a lesson on making a research plan, a quick guide to beginning research projects. Hi, my name is Chad, and in this lesson I will teach you how to make a research plan and discover your topic, questions, direction, and sources. Before we discuss how to make a research plan that works for you, let's be sure we understand the genre of an academic research essay, the expected features of a research essay, and how you can master the form. Research writing participates in a problem-solution genre. Research writers develop and communicate an argument that answers a contentious question in the field and seek to solve a lingering problem related to that question. The solution a researcher provides to the question and problem should find its clearest and most concise expression in the thesis, which must be supported by good reasons and grounding evidence through analyzing primary sources and learning from secondary sources. Researchers generally structure a research essay in 4 sections: introduction, counterarguments, core argument, and conclusion, ICCC form, which can and should be adjusted and organized according to the topic and the target reader's needs. Researchers frame for significance by introducing the topic, specifying the research question and broader research problem, summarizing the differing viewpoints on the issue, and asserting a thesis as solution followed by a brief list of reasons for recommending the thesis. Writers also define the key terms of their question and involved issue. Researchers situate their position within the ongoing scholarly conversation about the research question and problem, providing a substantive critique and evaluation of other positions, anticipating objections, and offering a defense and explication of their own position. The best way to master the form is certainly to practice it. This will come with time and more projects. But perhaps the second most helpful way to master the form is to create outlines. Find exemplars, sample research essays or articles from your field or areas of interest, and try to decipher their outline. Write out their structure in outline form, just as I have done on the right side of your screen. Then learn that form and integrate it into your next project as the skeleton of your essay. Consider using and adapting the generic outline on the right side of your screen as you start the invention process. After following this quick guide, you should have most of the introduction and counterarguments already written, as well as some foundational portions of your core argument and conclusions. So how can you get to that point? Well, the 7 steps to making a research plan are as follows. Step 1. Manage your time. Step 2. Consider your situation. Step 3. Choose your topic. Step 4. Read broadly. Step 5. Discover your question and problem. Step 6. Focus your research. Step 7. Draft a working thesis statement. Now that we understand the genre of an academic research essay and know where we are going, let us address how to manage your time, the act of planning ahead. When making a research plan, always plan early. The most important thing to understand is that if you wait until just before your due date to make your research plan, then all of the advantages of planning are cheapened and you are less likely to reap the benefits of your research plan. So plan early. Remember the oft-quoted adage, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Use a calendar. To me, nothing replaces a physical calendar, so I always buy a leather-bound planner with a year calendar in it. I also use my phone calendar for an added layer of organization. If you prefer a mobile or online calendar like Google Calendars, then use what is most natural and accessible to you. Whatever you choose, make sure you consult it often. Input your due dates. Create your own scheme for organization and recognition. I typically color code my projects by class or kind of project and then mark 1 week out, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and so forth to anticipate my upcoming projects. Plan to start well before your due date. A helpful ratio I have used is to start 1 week ahead for every 2 to 3 pages in my final project. So, if my project is 30 pages long, I will expect to start my plan 10 to 15 weeks from the due date. If my project is 10 to 15 pages long, then I will give myself about 5 to 6 weeks from the due date. You may find you need different amounts of time, so use this ratio as an example of the kind of forethought you need to give to making your research plan. Identify days and times when you can block out hours for research and drafting. I rarely do the kind of research I want to unless I nail down specific days of the week and certain times of the day that I am going to set aside each week for my project. Figure out what times work best for you. Ask yourself, how can I free up time in my schedule for my research? Now that you understand what to consider when planning ahead, consider your situation, the act of assessing where you are and who you are writing to. When making a research plan, identify your situation. Understand your assignment or task. Figure out what expectations, requirements, or guidelines pertain to your writing project and know them thoroughly. Reviewing your assignment for understanding will ensure that you do not make simple mistakes early in your research that will produce wide margins of error later on when borne out over weeks of research. Get to know your target audience. Are you writing for your classmates or for your professor? For researchers in the field? For practitioners or theorists? For everyday readers or for well-informed scholarly audiences? Identifying your target audience will affect your decisions on style, source selection, and document design, so get to know your audience. Learn your own strengths and weaknesses. This is as much a factor in your given situation as the other two considerations. If you are a poor planner, or a slow reader, or a heavy editor, then plan accordingly. If you lack the knowledge or skills necessary to execute your task, then find resources like this one that will enable you to succeed. Ask yourself, what requirements, people, or factors do I need to be aware of in order to save time and successfully do my research? Now that we have considered some initial concerns, let's move on to the third step in executing a research plan. Choose your topic, the act of probing your interest and discovering your topic. Starting with your interest will keep you motivated and counteract writer's block. Instead of looking for a topic based on how much or how little you know about it, consider probing for topics related to your interests. Ask yourself the broad questions. What are my interests? What do I enjoy doing? What do I want to do with my life? You will likely face two possible scenarios for probing your topic through your interests. If you are given the freedom to choose your own topic without any restrictions, ask yourself, what specific issues or objects or realities excite me more than any others? Once you have answered this question, write down your top 5 or 6 topic choices. Be specific. For instance, my list might look like poetics, ritual and embodiment, late Puritanism, theological aesthetics, J.R.R. Tolkien, the drama of doctrine. The other scenario you may encounter is when you are required to write about a predetermined range of topics. If you have to choose your topic based on a particular topic of study, a field, idea, controversy, then ask yourself, what about this topic interests me or relates to something else that interests me? Once you answer this question, write down 4 or 5 topic choices. If my topic of study was American literature, my list might look like American fantasy after Tolkien, Puritanism in Hawthorne and Miller's prose. If my topic of study was nihilism, my list might look like Aesthetics after Nietzsche, Wonder and the Absurd, True Myth versus Nihilism. If my topic of study was current political issues, my list might look like Embodying a Foreigner Theology in a Nuclear Age of Immigration Reform. As you can see, all I've done is taken my interests that I previously listed and connected them to a topic of study. Remember, good researchers know their interests and will primarily write about them. Doing otherwise would seem like a great pretense to the readers. Now that you have a running list of your interests, and if necessary, have connected them to a required topic, we will move on to the 4th step in the process of executing a research plan. Read broadly, the act of listening in on the ongoing conversation. Before nailing down your research question or research problem, it is important to listen in on what is already being said. Getting a general lay of the land in terms of the scholarly conversation will enable you to ask an incisive question, unique to the conversation, and identify a looming problem unsolved by the current conversation. Find out, has anything been said about my topic? If so, what? What discipline did the researcher write in or for? Sociology, linguistics, hermeneutics? What connections to other topics or disciplines did the researcher make? You do not want to do what's been done before. So knowing what others have argued about your topic and how they have argued enables you to contribute to the conversation in a fresh, insightful way. Do not panic if you cannot find anything directly on your topic. Finding nothing is the most exciting moment for a researcher. Finding nothing means you are doing something that has never been done before and you're putting your mark on the scholarly conversation. Yet, sometimes, many authors have written on your topic, so you have to do the creative work of connecting the topic to a broader issue or problem and solving that issue in a way that no one else has done before. A helpful resource on this topic is They Say, I Say, The Moves That Matter in Academic Writing by Graff, Birkenstein, and Durst, as shown on your screen. So what does this look like? Step 1. Find good sources that will orient you to the conversation. Visit your local library and ask a librarian or someone from the research desk to help you find good overview sources on your topic. Search online databases. If you are affiliated with an academic institution, you may have access to dozens of online research databases. Public databases like Google Scholar and even Google Books and JSTOR, limited use without a subscription, can offer access to helpful sources if one diligently wades through hundreds of sources of varying quality. Start broad with your search terms such as late Puritanism, theological aesthetics, and immigration reform, and then narrow your search terms to more specific and sometimes more complete queries such as Puritanism in the writing of Nathaniel Hawthorne or Arthur Miller, Nietzsche's effects on aesthetics in the 21st century, a theology of the foreigner for immigration reform. Vary your search terms until you have compiled 10 to 20 resources related to your topic. Consult general reference works like encyclopedias and subject-specific dictionaries and research overviews. For instance, the Cambridge Companion series is an accessible scholarly collection of articles addressing the ongoing conversations surrounding various authors, eras, and fields. In theological studies, Daniel Trier's and Walter Elwell's Evangelical Dictionary of Theology is an excellent resource which offers short summaries of various theological topics written by contemporary scholars with a select bibliography of recommended sources to get you going. Or if you were studying Augustine, Fitzgerald's Augustine Through the Ages, an encyclopedia, would be a great first source. Step 2. Group various perspectives into distinguishable camps. Consider using sticky notes or some other marking system and put them on the front of books or PDFs you have printed out, briefly writing down the main argument of each. At this stage, consider using a thorough skimming process that enables you to get a feel of the conversation in each source without getting bogged down. Observe the main questions the authors ask and answer, as well as the main problems they address. This will help you later distinguish your voice from the rest of the conversation. Remember, if you talk before you listen, few will listen to you. Yet, if you listen first, you will know what to say and how to say it, and many will want to listen. Now that you have a lay of the land and have listened to the ongoing scholarly conversation, we will move on to the fifth step in the process of executing a research plan. Discover your question and problem, the act of interrogating your topic for a research question and a research problem. Now that you know what others have been saying, what kinds of questions they've been asking, and what problems they've been addressing, you are ready to voice your own research question and connect your topic to a broader research problem of your choosing. It is important to note that your research question and problem should take you back to what interested you about your topic in the first place. Consider what you have to contribute to the conversation and pose a research question and problem that will set you up to say what you believe is most significant. Remember, the research question is the centering question that guides your entire project, is concisely answered by your thesis, and is thoroughly answered by the argument of your essay. When posing a research question, avoid questions that call for a yes-no answer. Learn to ask more probing how or why questions. When posing a research question, be as specific as possible without over-narrowing your question for the scope of your project and without assuming something you will later prove. For example, consider the question, is Puritanism a major theme in the writings of Nathaniel Hawthorne and Arthur Miller? This question only seeks a yes-no answer. Consider the question, why do Nathaniel Hawthorne and Arthur Miller make false representations of the Puritans? Before you can ask a question like this, you have to prove Hawthorne and Miller are making false accusations. You cannot assume in your question what still needs proving in the ongoing conversation. Consider the question, how do Nathaniel Hawthorne and Arthur Miller represent the Puritans in the Scarlet Letter and the Crucible? This question is sufficiently specific and it does not assume what it must prove. Remember, the research problem is the broader motivating issue on which the experts disagree that lends significance to your entire project, is indirectly solved by your thesis and throughout your argument as the bigger issue, and is directly solved in the conclusion of your essay. When posing a research problem, make sure the problem somehow connects to the topic at hand. When posing a research problem, choose an issue that is significant to you and to your target readers. For example, Addressing the broader misunderstanding of Puritan faith and culture would be an excellent research problem, whereas the current political tension between the United States and North Korea may be interesting yet thoroughly unrelated from your topic. Now that you have a research question and a research problem, we will move on to the sixth step in the process of executing a research plan. Focus your research, the act of snooping to find your conversants. Now that you have a research question and a research problem, identify what orbits your topic intersects with. Every topic overlaps with several different orbits of research and scholarly conversation. Finding out what those orbits are will tell you where to find your conversants. Consider our example. In our research on the representation of Puritans in the Crucible and the Scarlet Letter, there are at least 3 orbits of scholarly conversation whose intersection is the topic of our project. One orbit is the books themselves. The other is New England Puritanism, and the other orbit is the broader misconceptions and misunderstandings surrounding Puritanism. Once you know those orbits, immerse yourself in the conversation involving each one until you can identify the different perspectives and can identify your conversants. Once you know your conversants, learn what they have to argue. This is where faithful reading and analysis are essential. There really are no shortcuts at this point. But with all your prior work, this stage in the process will take some time, but will not be disorienting or confusing. Remember, don't just look for scholars who share your perspective. Echo chambers sound incoherent to anyone outside and can be a headache to anyone inside. Now that you have found your conversants, your conversation partners, we will move on to the 7th step in the process of executing a research plan. Drafting a working thesis statement, the act of forming a provisional hypothesis. Replay the ongoing conversation in your head and look for gaps in the argument where you can carve out space and insert your voice. Consider your research problem in question. Your hypothesis, eventual thesis, must directly solve and answer the problem in question you pose. Get alone with your object of study, a book, legislation reports, a film. Analyze it and figure out what the significant argument is that you're wanting to voice. Write down your basic argument in one paragraph, devoting a couple sentences to what you are claiming, a couple to what you are trying to prove, and a couple to what evidence you are planning to use in support of your argument. Then, condense the first 2 parts, your claim and your point to prove, into 2 sentences. Then condense them down to 1 sentence. This sentence should be your clear, concrete, contentious, and concise hypothesis, which will eventually become your thesis. The couple sentences you wrote summarizing your evidence can easily turn into your advanced organizer, and you are well on your way to starting the drafting process. Remember, your thesis is not an insipid opinion statement, but an argument made lethal by concision. Now that you have completed this last step in executing a research plan, you are ready to start drafting. Congratulations! Remember, you have already done over 50% of the work necessary to complete your project. Use your notes, groupings, and conversants to generate content for your draft, and you will be well on your way. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see pictured an Argument Boxes handout, which you can find a link to in the video description. This matrix helps writers and readers recognize the structure of an argument by identifying and picturing the thesis, main claim, supporting reasons, grounding evidence, and warrants for assumptions in the appropriate boxes. Let us quickly retrace our steps to making a research plan so you can see just how much of the work you've already done. Steps 1, 2, and 3 affect your whole essay as well as the process behind your writing. Steps 4, 5, and 6 directly provide your research question and problem, as well as your counterarguments and warrants, and even some of your foundational material for your reasons and evidence. And step 7 provides you with your thesis or main claim. So as you can see, once you've completed the steps in this quick guide, you have completed several parts of your argument and have begun to develop a substantial foundation for the rest of your essay. I hope you have found this lesson helpful as you seek to make a research plan and begin your research project. For more information, check your writing manuals, visit local writing centers, or consult online writing helps. Or check out more videos at our YouTube channel. And visit Southeastern's Writing Center website, where you will find dozens of helpful links and handouts offering writing assistance for a variety of situations and audiences. Thank you.